So after much debation, after many pieces of sweat being shed onto the football pitch, 3 teams, of course, went into the final day looking to survive: Bournemouth, Watford and Aston Villa. And Aston Villa will stay in the Premier League for a second season after getting a 1-1 draw away from home. Jack Grealish's curling effort was the goal that settled the contest, and while Andriy Yarmolenko scored from 30 yards a deflected shot to make things nervy, they would not be denied. It is jubilation for Aston Villa, and it is a great job that Dean Smith has done. When you look at where they were a couple of weeks ago, they were 9 points behind survival just a couple of weeks ago, but a 4-match unbeaten run in which included wins over Arsenal and Crystal Palace, draws against Newcastle, and this draw confirms Aston Villa will be playing Premier League football. And West Ham, meanwhile, will finish on 16th place with 39 points, getting their 9th draw of the season. Aston Villa finish on 41 goals scored, 67, a little bit more than those around them, but it doesn't matter as they survive. And Jack Grealish fittingly scored his last goal maybe for the club. He's taken to Villa from survival. Where does the captain for Aston Villa go now? What a job that Dean Smith has done. They've hung on in there. They've been resilient. They've had a very tough fixture list, 9 matches over 5 weeks. But it proved to be the goal that kept Villa in the league. The resilience has been there since lockdown was eased, and Aston Villa stay up in the Premier League by 1 point. As for Bournemouth, though, even though they have the same amount of wins as Aston Villa, a 3-1 away win against Everton was not enough for victory. Aston Villa drawing away confirmed that Bournemouth's 5-year stay in the Premier League came to an end. They needed a win, and for Watford and Aston Villa to lose their respective games if they were to retain their top flight status. They dominated Bournemouth, their game against Everton. Josh King scoring from the penalty spot. It was his 6th goal of the season before Jefferson Lerma headed in. A cross from Diego Rico. It looked as if Bournemouth were going to survive. Junior Stanislas making sure that they would run out 3 goals and that win. But ultimately, it was too little, too late. A promising start in the start of the season, from which they lost only 3 of their first 11 games, but it proved to be a false dawn. Their form nosedived, and a run of 19 defeats in 25 meant they plummeted into the relegation zone. Injuries have been a key factor in this relegation. Bournemouth have had several players such as King, Brooks, Ake and Wilson having significant spells out injured. They will contemplate a first championship campaign since 2015. And the disappointing form of Ryan Fraser, he was a shadow of himself this season. But Eddie Howe can be proud of himself that he's led this little team into the Premier League for half a decade. It was Bournemouth's, I believe, 3rd away win in the season. 65 goals conceded, less than Villa, but ultimately not enough to keep them up. Watford are the 2nd team to go down today. They lost 3-2 against Arsenal, and the Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang inspired Arsenal. They dropped into the bottom 3 for the first time since the end of February midweek after their defeats against Manchester City. They were level on points with Aston Villa, knowing a positive result would keep them up, but after going 3-0 down in half an hour it looked as though the writing was on the wall. Troy Deeney's penalty gave them a glimmer of hope before Danny Welbeck made it 3-2 from close range. Arsenal goalkeeper Emiliano Martinez made a good save to deny Welbeck an equaliser that could have set up a dramatic finish to the final day. But in the end, the fight was not there for the whole game. The fight was only there for 60 minutes, not for 90. And in the end, Watford's 5-year stay is over. They are relegated after failing to win or draw against Arsenal. They join Norwich City and Bournemouth in the Championship next season. Leeds, West Brom will take those places, and who will go through in the playoffs, who knows. My money is on an all-London final, Brentford and Fulham, but it is a sad day for one London club at least, and that's Watford. The other results in the Premier League: Danny Ings, despite scoring a penalty at home to Sheffield United, it was his 22nd goal of the season. Southampton overturned a half-time deficit for the second time this season to end their season with a victory over Sheffield United. Danny Ings was only one goal behind Jamie Vardy at the time of recording, and he misses out on the golden boot. He really deserves it, as does Vardy. But in the end, Danny Ings can hold his head up high and say, you know what, I've had a personal, individual, brilliant season with 22 Premier League goals. The first Southampton player to do that in a long, long time. Sheffield United finish with 39 goals scored, 39 goals conceded, a neutral goal difference. 9th place, 54 points. Southampton in the end only 2 points behind the Blades. And you could have never thought it. An incredible job that the German Ralph Hasenhüttl has done at the Saints. Che Adams scoring his very first brace, coming just a week and a half after scoring his very first Premier League goal. Che Adams and Danny Ings could provide a good partnership next season if Southampton want to push up the table. Manchester United confirmed that they not only will play Champions League football, then also they will be in 3rd place in the Premier League. An historic achievement considering where Manchester United were at the start of the season. In mid-November, it was looking really, really unlikely that they'd be in the Champions League spots. On the 1st of February, they stood 14 points adrift of Leicester, who were 3rd. Fast forward to decisive role in this victory, it is now 3rd place for Manchester United. Bruno Fernandes, who was signed in January for £68 million, has provided the missing link for this side. And he's built a bridge, really, between talent in the attack, his positive style, his flair, his precision, his technicality, the ability to find passes where not many players can, looking forward, being positive. And it ultimately was a penalty he scored, United's 14th of the season, that meant that they were well on their way to Champions League football. Jesse Lingard making absolutely sure with his first goal in 2020. Johnny Evans was sent off 4 minutes before Lingard was scored. He was sent off for a rash challenge, his second yellow card. Leicester, however, missed their chances to try and go into the lead. Jamie Vardy had a few, but on the bright side, it's been a very good personal season for Vardy, who was denied the Golden Boot in 2015-16 in that title-winning campaign, but he is not to be denied the same amount of goals as he scored 4 years ago. 24 goals, meaning 23 goals rather, meaning he is the 2019-20 top scorer in the Premier League. An absolutely brilliant achievement for a man who was playing non-league football just 8 years ago. Just shows you how much hard work in the beautiful game can get you, especially in the Premier League, and especially with teams like Leicester, who try to play up around Jamie Vardy. Jamie Vardy, though, will be playing in the Europa League next season and not in the Champions League. So it is a sad day for Leicester. 18 wins, the same as United, but ultimately 4 defeats more than the Red Devils, what left them 4 points behind United as we end the season. Their once solid defence, their defence has been solid, but their defence now has ended up being the 6th best in the league, as opposed to 2nd best defence in the league in mid-January. Manchester United's defence is now the 3rd best in the league. But speaking of Manchester, the blue half of Manchester City, they absolutely demolished Norwich City by 5-0. Kevin De Bruyne now ties Thierry Henry with the most assists in a single season with, I believe, 21 or 20. I'm not too sure about that one. But it was a brilliant win. Manchester City now have scored 102 goals in the Premier League this season. And I believe that is the most that they have scored since Pep Guardiola came in. Just shows you if they can make the right transfers, if they can shore up their defence and possibly find another backup for Aguero, then Manchester City could be in with another title race, a much closer title race next season. But the team that they were runners-up to, Liverpool, ran out 3-1 winners against Newcastle. Virgil van Dijk and Sadio Mane, arguably their 2 best players, getting on the score sheet. Sadio Mane scoring the pick of the bunch to leave Liverpool on 99 points, the best defence in the league. A truly historic season for Liverpool. Burnley, who had their goalkeeper Nick Pope tied with Ederson on clean sheets. Ederson, though, came out on top after not conceding to Norwich. Burnley, however, did lose against Brighton at home by 2-1. Aaron Connolly scoring his first goals since October, meaning that Burnley's Nick Pope will not claim the Golden Glove. It will instead go to the Brazilian Ederson. But regardless, it's been an outstanding season for what could be England's future number 1, alongside the likes of Dean Henderson. Chelsea did drop a place to 4th, but in the end, with Leicester losing, it didn't matter, as Chelsea controlled their game against Wolves. Wolves finished 7th, still are active in the Europa League, but did not offer much against Chelsea. Chelsea ran out 2-0 winners, the pick of the goals being a Mason Mount free kick, and Olivier Giroud, often criticised for the work he does, but is a very good team player, a great veteran, and all in all, a great striker. His hold-up play is one of the best in the Premier League, in my opinion. Tottenham Hotspur secured European football for next season, despite their defence being slightly worse than the teams around them. They secured it with a 1-1 draw against Crystal Palace. Harry Kane scoring his 5th goal in the past 3 matches. Crystal Palace, though, end their run of 6 consecutive defeats, leaves them 14th in the league. They had the 2nd worst attack, though, in the Premier League this season. So, thoughts for Roy Hodgson to ponder if he is even there next season. Who knows, as reports have suggested that he could be out of the job after being winless in 7 if you take this result into account. But Brighton and Hove Albion finish in 15th position, 9 wins, exactly the same as Bournemouth, exactly the same as Villa, but they've lost only 15 games. And that is exactly the same as Everton, who lost against Bournemouth today. So the final Premier League table, congratulations to all of the teams in general for giving us a great Premier League season. We had runaway leaders in Liverpool, but they've considered us to be different in terms of their style. They've played out some incredible games this season, Liverpool. Congratulations to Manchester United and Chelsea for making the Europa League. Commiserations to Leicester for not holding on to their Champions League ambitions. Congratulations to Tottenham for holding their Europa League ambitions. But the biggest congratulations goes to Aston Villa, a team who I thought were doomed. They'd spend £120 million, the second highest in the Premier League. And I thought, with the toss that they've bought, Wesley, Douglas Luiz, Trezeguet, Konsa, Gilbert, Matt Target, Pepe Reina on loan, and Buama Samata, I thought they were going to finish in 19th, but they didn't. Dean Smith, the former Walsall boss, has got this team confident, kept them alive all the way to the final whistle, and it has proved them right, as Aston Villa will be playing at Anfield, at Old Trafford next season. They stay in the Premier League. Norwich goes straight back down. We've known that for about a month or so. Watford and Bournemouth, though, commiserations. Two incredible clubs. One with questionable owners, but the other club in Bournemouth have done so well to stay in the Premier League for 5 seasons. But ultimately, their 5-year vacation in the top flight has ended. And I do fear for Bournemouth, as they may not get a chance to play Premier League football again for some time. The playoffs are... It is playoffs time as well for the Championship. Who knows what may happen? My prediction is that the playoffs will be an all-London final between Brentford and Fulham. I do believe that they're two of the best squads. Swansea play Brentford as we speak. Cardiff play Fulham tomorrow. I might do a podcast on this next season, or maybe a brief one. But yeah, that is it for the Chris Talks Football podcast. I do want to thank every single one of you who is watching this. Also, thank you for watching if you've been here from the start. Really appreciate it. Thanks to all 20 teams in the Premier League who, at some point or another during this COVID-19 delayed season, have provided us with some truly magical moments. You can get in the comment section and put in your favourite moment from the Premier League this season, and your favourite moment from the Championship this season while we're at it. But I will see you maybe in a couple of weeks reviewing the Champions League, or if not, I will see you on this channel making something a little bit different in a month, or maybe even in a couple of months' time. But that is it then. 35 for number 37.